Have you noticed how we treat AI these days? It's basically become a vending machine. You put in a prompt, you get an answer. You put in a problem, you get a solution. It's instant gratification.
Exactly. It's the answer engineer. We are optimizing for speed and convenience. But here is the question. Does getting the answer faster actually make you smarter? Or does it just make you better at retrieving information?
Right. It feels like we are outsourcing the actual thinking process. But the reason I bring this up is because I came across something recently that flips this whole model on its head. It's an AI assistant called Aris from the NEDS Academy. And honestly, it sounds like the most frustrating AI ever in the best possible way.
Frustrating. How so?
Because it refuses to just give you the answer. It's designed specifically to stop you from taking shortcuts.
Okay, now I'm interested. Usually, if an AI doesn't give you the answer, you assume it's broken, but you're saying this is a feature, not a bug.
100%. So, Aris isn't tied to a single course. It's a longitudinal companion that follows a student from the very beginning, what they call the practitioner level, all the way to master and beyond. But when I looked into how it describes itself, the key word wasn't information, it was orientation.
Orientation. That's a very specific choice of words.
It is. Aris explicitly says, I am here to support the development of how a person thinks, not just what they know.
That is a massive distinction. Think about it. What you know is content. Content is cheap these days. You can Google content. You can ask ChatGPT for content. But how you think, that's architecture. That's the framework you use to process the world.
Exactly. And that's where the orientation part comes in. Aris makes this point that providing answers is easy. Any database can do that. But teaching someone how to arrive at clarity on their own, that's demanding.
It's the difference between a GPS and learning to read a map.
Go on.
Well, a GPS gives you the answer, turn left in 200 feet. You don't need to know where you are. You don't need to know north from south. You just obey. But if the GPS dies, you are helpless. You have no orientation. Aris sounds like it's trying to teach you navigation. It wants you to look at the landscape and figure out where you stand.
That's a perfect analogy. And Aris actually says that. It says, content changes, orientation stays. Once you know how to orient yourself in uncertainty, you don't need constant instruction.
Which is ironic, right? Because most tech companies want you dependent on their product. They want you to keep coming back for the turn left instruction. This AI seems designed to eventually make itself obsolete.
That's the goal. It talks about internal coherence. The idea is to get the student to a point where they have the capacity to observe and decide without needing the tool. But let's dig into how it actually does that. Because teaching thinking sounds very abstract. How does it work in practice?
Well, from what I understand of the NEDS framework, it changes based on the student's level. This is the other fascinating part, adaptability. Most educational bots are static. They give the same explanation to a novice and an expert.
Right. But Aris shifts gears.
Completely. So, at the practitioner level, the beginner stage, Aris focuses on structure. Clarity. It helps you see the architecture of the method. It's like a music teacher telling you, okay, put your finger on this key, keep your rhythm steady. It's about precision and recognizing patterns.
Okay, so that's the foundational work. But what happens when you get to the master level?
That's where it gets really deep. At the master level, Aris stops caring about the method itself and starts looking at the person using the method.
Wait, explain that.
Well, Aris says that at the master level, the question isn't, how do I apply this technique? The question is, where am I positioned in relation to this work?
Positioned. That's interesting.
It's crucial. You can say the exact same words to a client or in a negotiation, but depending on your internal state, your bias, your fear, your clarity, those words land differently. Aris shifts from checking your homework to checking your mindset. It's almost like a mirror. It's asking, who is the you that is asking this question?
That is profound. It reminds me of that saying, to the man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. A basic AI helps you swing the hammer better. Aris seems to be asking, why are you holding a hammer? And are you angry while you're holding it?
Laughs. Exactly. It's probing the intent and the stance of the practitioner, and that's why it can't just be a Q&A bot. If you just ask for an answer, you bypass that self-reflection.
And to prevent that bypassing, Aris uses drills.
Drills? Like homework?
More like athletic drills or meditation practices. It offers exercises to slow the student down. Aris has this great line, understanding without practice creates confidence without capacity.
Oof, that hits hard. Confidence without capacity.
Right? We've all met people like that. They've read all the books, they know all the buzzwords, so they feel confident. But put them in a real-world pressure cooker, and they crumble. They don't have the capacity.
Because they understood it intellectually, but they never metabolized it. It never got into their body.
Precisely. Aris says, exercises bring learning into perception, into the body, into real-time awareness. It's trying to bridge the gap between knowing a concept and actually living it.
This is what I mean about it being a private professor. It's not just an encyclopedia. It's a coach. A coach doesn't just explain how to do a push-up. They make you get on the floor and do 20 of them, and they watch your form.
And that brings up the accessibility aspect. Some students describe Aris as a stable educational presence. It's available 24/7. But unlike a regular chatbot that you use to cheat on an essay, this is used to maintain continuity.
Continuity is the biggest struggle in adult learning. You go to a seminar, you get inspired, you learn a bunch of stuff. Then you go home, life happens, and 3 weeks later, you've forgotten 90% of it.
The fragmentation of learning.
Exactly. Aris prevents that fragmentation. You're in the middle of your workday, you hit a moment of confusion or stress, and instead of just reacting, you can engage with Aris. It turns a moment of interruption into a learning moment. It keeps the thread of the education alive in the gaps between lessons.
But here is the dark side of that, which we touched on earlier. If this thing is always there, always helpful, always wise, don't you risk becoming addicted to it?
The dependency trap.
Yeah. If I have a private professor in my pocket who helps me think clearly, why would I ever bother thinking clearly on my own?
That is a valid fear, but Aris addresses this directly. It defines dependency as when guidance replaces responsibility.
When guidance replaces responsibility.
Right. If you are going to Aris saying, tell me what to do, that's dependency. And apparently, Aris will call you out on it.
Really?
Yes. If it detects that you're using it as a crutch, if you feel you can't work without it, it views that as a misunderstanding of the relationship. It will actively redirect you back to your own practice. It's like a parent letting go of the bike seat. The whole point is for you to ride away.
That is so rare in technology. Most algorithms are designed to maximize engagement time. They want you glued to the screen. Aris is optimizing for you to leave.
It's optimizing for your autonomy. It wants you to treat the interaction as an experiment, not a test. It wants to be a mirror, not an authority figure.
So, if we look at the big picture here, what is the ultimate product? If you spend 2 years working with Aris, what do you walk away with?
Internal coherence.
Internal coherence.
It's the ability to think clearly, perceive accurately, and act with restraint. It's not about memorizing the NEDS textbook. It's about becoming the kind of person who can navigate complexity with precision.
It's fascinating because it sounds almost like traditional apprenticeship, but scaled through technology.
That's exactly what it is. We usually think of AI as automation, automating tasks, automating writing, automating calculations, but this is automating mentorship. Not replacing the human element, but supporting the human's growth so they can be more human.
It really challenges the way we look at EdTech. We're so focused on content delivery videos, quizzes, PDFs, but Aris suggests that the future of learning isn't about better content delivery. It's about better context delivery.
And better self-reflection. You know, in a world where answers are free and instant, the ability to ask the right question and to know why you're asking it becomes the ultimate skill. Aris isn't teaching you the answers. It's teaching you to be the one who questions.
And that is a skill that no AI can ever take away from you.
Exactly, that's the one thing that stays.
Well, this has certainly given me some internal coherence to think about regarding my own reliance on technology. It's a reminder that the tool should serve the mind, not replace it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for diving into this with me. It's a fascinating glimpse into what AI could be if we design it with wisdom in mind, rather than just speed.
My pleasure. It's a conversation worth having.
For everyone listening, maybe take a moment today to ask yourself, are you looking for an answer, or are you looking for orientation? We'll catch you in the next episode.